Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Thursday. You got myself, Noe Ruiz here.
What's up everybody? I'm Pedro Ruiz, the creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printed projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right. This is the show where we come together every week. We combine 3D printing with DIY electronics to help you guys with your projects.
That's right. We'll go over some CAD techniques, some cool projects that we release for free. All you got to do is buy the cool components.
Very cool stuff. Let's take a look at some segments this week. We got What Are You Prototyping?
That's right. Every week we take a sneak peek behind the scenes of some upcoming projects for future episodes.
That's right. And then next up, we're switching it up just a little bit. We got the layer by layer. That's coming.
That's right. It's when we take a look at some of the CAD techniques that you used to create this week's project.
Okay. And then we'll jump out and jump in to 3D news.
That's right. Every week there are a bunch of interesting stories happening in the world of 3D printing. We just snatch a couple of them that catch our eye.
Oh, yeah. And then we'll leave the show off with you guys with the weekly video.
That's right. Every week we have a cool project, 3D printed project featuring electronics. Today we have a cool sound box featuring the trellis buttons.
Oh, yeah. Let's segue right into that one, Pedro, since you got it there. But
That's
anyway,
right.
but this is cool. We did the video before. We had this awesome new material. Tell us about this new material.
Yeah, so we talked about this last week. It's the bamboo fill. It's been a sort of materials sort of theme.
It's been a month of materials, a bunch of copper and stuff in the last two projects. Very cool.
So it was metal before. Now we're starting back to, I think, what civilization started off with? Wood.
And then next week it'll be stone.
So these are obviously very cool for enclosures. We even got the another future project here, the Pocket Game Girl.
It's not out, don't ask.
Yeah, so very awesome. You can stain it as we've seen and shown before in past episodes. Check those out if you want to see that. So we got the Ninja Flex buttons on here and the cool color combo that just feels awesome in your hand. I love the weight on this. And of course, not only good for enclosures, but of course props. Upcoming future project also wood. So we're going to use, of course, we're going to make, as suggested by Becky, Link's wooden sword.
Yeah,
so very cool. I mean, this you could definitely make this out of real wood, but
it's great that you can extrude wood now as opposed to subtractive. Huh?
Yeah, so
Pretty
this
cool.
would take quite a bit of time to sort of sand all this down and make this out of a 2x4 or whatever. And of course, you can customize it reproduce it, customize it as we have. Of course, we're featuring some very awesome Ninja Flex grips for the handle here. We got the caramel and green colors that we have in the shop.
Yeah, caramel and grass.
Yeah, caramel and grass green.
Grass green.
So really cool color combos that seem to work on a lot of different projects.
Yeah, like on that one too, yeah.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for this. This is a nice, lightweight, cool sword from Link.
Yeah, I really like this material because it's a lot like PLA. It uses the same settings.
Yeah, you don't need
a good time, man.
You don't need a heated bed for this, and yeah, it's a lot more rigid. It's of course this is going to have its own episode. We'll go over the techniques
all
of
about
printing
that with you folks, yeah.
So that'll come up.
Yeah, but I like that you made a specific project to use bamboo fill. Very, very cool project. Of course, Link's wooden sword is like the best idea for a first project.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool, man.
So very cool stuff coming up.
Yeah. That was so cool, man. I don't even know what we're doing next. I think we're gonna show our layer by layer next because we're switching it up. We want to make sure that you guys get the best up front. So
yeah, we're taking a look at statistics for retention, and we even got some rewards in terms of sneak peek.
Sure, if you stick around, you'll get some even more stuff. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into this week's layer by layer.
You got it. All right. So this week's layer by layer, we're just gonna take a look at the enclosure, so you can get this on the Adafruit Learning System along with the full tutorial on how to build the circuit and wiring and stuff. Very, very cool. But in this one, I just wanted to share with you guys a quick tutorial on how to put together a grid arrangement. If you look at the buttons, can you show the buttons real quick? There's a 4x4 grid for the trellis, so we're just going to go ahead and make the holes, the cutouts for that top part of the enclosure. So ideally, you would use a sketch, and I wish you could sort of create a pattern with the sketch, but you got to create a solid. So first, we'll go ahead and we'll extrude. We'll extrude a shape out of the sketch there, and we'll go ahead and make sure it's a new solid so that we won't chop it. And then we'll click OK, and then now we'll go ahead and just hide the sketches so we can work with the solids a little bit closely. So I'll go ahead and select it, and then we can do. We'll apply a pattern, a rectangular pattern. So if you go up there and click on pattern, rectangular pattern, I'll switch the solid mode over to direction because we have the solid already selected. And this is where you can select edges to determine which way you want it to copy. But you get two of them here. So if I'll pull out this arrow over here and it's a little interactive handler. And when you start pulling it out, you get your copies, right? So this is a cool way to create an arrangement of a bunch of objects without copy and pasting a bunch. So then next up, I'll go ahead and change the quantity to 4, so I can actually type it in or just hit the arrow button, and then I'll rotate it around and just push it the other way, and I get my the other row of or column, I guess. And then I'll change the quantity to 4. And this is a really cool way. You can check these little boxes here if you want a like a unique pattern, I guess. So that's kind of cool that you can do that. And then also the little arrows right here, those are little interactive handlers for changing the quantity. But I already got the quantity entered, so I don't need to mess with that. I just wanted to show you guys that. Hit OK or hit Enter, and then that accepts the pattern. And now you have a whole bunch of patterns. And the next thing I would do, a real quick way to subtract them from the top, I'll select that, check Subtract, and then just create a marquee selection and just select them like that. That's a really cool, fast way instead of having to click on each one. Very, very cool way to do it with a batch. So I thought it'd be a really cool tutorial and just show you how guys put that together. Pretty easy.
Let's go ahead and talk about the widgets that we use.
Sure, we got some new ones. We got the speaker widget over here. So this is, I think we've used it in one project, but in this one, we're mounting it upright. So that's a cool way. We got the 4 standoffs here with the mounting holes in the perfect place there.
And those print with no supports.
Oh yeah. Also, we got our legacy slide switch adapter. That is like in every project. We also got the 1200 milliamp battery, which is pretty beefy. You can use it a lot. And then the first up board is a Pro Trinket microcontroller. So that's there, and it's got the 4 standoffs and the mounting holes and the cutout for the USB port, which is nice. Right next to it is the Audio FX Soundboard. That's the one with the amplifier built into it. So it's a little bit bigger than the other boards. We have a mini one. We'll talk a little bit about that later too. And it also has the standoffs and the mounting holes for you too, so you can reuse that, and I'll definitely be reusing it in all my other projects. So very, very cool. If you open up the sketches, you can see I got the sketch for the speaker hole, so you guys can mess with that. It's in the right spot exactly where you want a hole for your speaker, or you can create a grid or something if you wanted to. And I also got the sketches for the standoffs at the bottom there. A little bit of different approach. Using the sketches this way so I can cut through all of the shapes instead of having to create cylinders every time. That's another cool little tip, but you guys can go ahead and download it for free. It's on the Adafruit Learning System, so you can check that out along with any other projects that you want to check out. So
yeah, there's a couple trellis projects that you can make in addition to this. So yeah,
I like
check that out.
Yeah, I like it. Reuse it and let us know if you print it out. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into news. Is that cool?
Let's see what we got this week for news. First up, we got very awesome.
Very awesome. What's the best thing to do with your Raspberry Pi? You turn it into a game machine.
That's right. Any Pi you have laying around, this is the perfect use for it. Don't let it just collect dust. Turn it into a usable gaming cabinet.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about this. This is cool. Very, very cool project.
Yeah, so this is using a Raspberry Pi B.
Okay,
it's
so
a 7-inch LCD. Yeah, we got a 12-volt power supply in there, and it's using joysticks and 8 buttons. Now, we actually have these buttons along as well as the joystick. You've made a little small arcade cabinet.
Yeah, I've never finished it, but I turned it into just like a standalone Bluetooth remote using the Bluetooth Easy Key that we got in the Adafruit shop. So it's a little bit different, but definitely the same style in terms of using arcade buttons and using the joystick. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Very awesome project to do. He has all of the Pi, everything fitted inside there. You can see a couple more pictures.
Yeah.
See how the arcade buttons are all laid out in there.
Pretty
all
cool.
The wiring, very cool job.
Is it on Thingiverse? We can download it?
Yeah, the STLs are all up.
Okay.
Definitely easier to go with, the acrylic, how the Pi-cade or the Cupcade.
Yeah, check out the Cupcade if you want something that's more like I can just assemble it right away.
Yeah, definitely for manufacturing. It was a lot more faster to do it in acrylic than it would be to actually print out those panels.
It's a lot more smaller and cute. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
So definitely check out this project if you want something a little bit more bigger.
Yeah, cool. We got the link for you in the description, by the way, so check that out. Okay, next up.
Next up, we got Catastrophonaut.
Catastrophonaut. Pretty cool. This one's from...
This one was designed by Wayne Dorrington. He's an illustrator, art director working in London, and this is actually his first design.
First design, really, really cool design.
He designed this in Autodesk 123D, and it took a couple months of learning to figure out how all this works, but everybody out there, this is the first time, you can definitely learn how to make very awesome, action figures inside.
And I was reading up on his instruction on Thingiverse. He's saying that he designed this before he even had a printer. So there you go, guys. You can start working on this even if you don't have a printer. He sent it off to I think his work had one. But then he got the printer, and then he had to relearn everything because he had to learn about orientation and support material. That's the best way to really do it, is you just design something first, print it, and then sort of learn as you're going. And that's really how we did, too. It's like you have to learn all these things.
Yeah, and that's a question that always comes up. People who are thinking about purchasing printers, definitely get your feet wet, dirty.
And catting first,
and catting, and get all that stuff figured out. So when you get the printer, you have to figure out orientation. That's the only thing left to figure out, how to actually lay out your model for your printer.
So you start thinking like, how's my part going to be split, and how am I going to print it up ways like that? So pretty cool. But he did use a lot of support material. I mean, look at the tubes and stuff.
Yeah,
very cool.
Turned out great. He did a lot of very good post-production work on this.
Absolutely. And guys, adding that little bit of LED, adding that little bit of electronics to your stuff just adds so much dimension to it. Look at this thing, man. It's super awesome. So very cool.
Very awesome work, Wayne.
Featured on Thingiverse already, so folks are downloading it, printing it as we speak.
Yeah, I love the detail on the broken glass there for the space
How did
suit
you put
helmet.
that together? Is that
he said he did some sanding on that. I really love the transparency on it. It looks like it's the blue PLA, or transparent PLA.
It almost looks like a resin print.
Yeah, I thought it was a resin print when I first saw it.
Look at there's so much detail, guys. Folks, check it out. Download it now. You can get it for free on Thingiverse. Very nice.
Up, we have more cosplay stuff.
More stuff, more swords. This is huge. This is from Devil May Cry, the Rebellion sword. This thing's massive. This is from My Manufactory. The folks over at My Manufactory are always pumping out very cool stuff. Look at the detail. Just
look at the detail on this cool skull. Love the way it came out. Looks like he chopped it in half and is printing on the Z.
That's right.
It's very cool.
What did he make it in?
So this was designed by Lloyd Roberts. He designed this inside of Rhino and ZBrush.
Okay.
It's 1.5 meters long. It uses about 15 printed pieces. It's all stuck together using
some glue, maybe.
He's using pins and dovetail joints to stick everything up.
Okay, a little bit of glue and a little bit of dove pins. Now this is interesting. Take a look at the way the seam is, right? You get that little jigsaw puzzle, and I've printed some stuff before. A lot of My Manufactory stuff actually uses that approach, and I think there might be a little bit better way. I really like the way you got the sword, like your gun blade, and now this sword. Tell me a little bit about that. It's really cool.
Yeah. So the way we're connecting all the pieces together is just with sticks. Yeah. You can barely see the seam there, but when you take this apart, you can see that it's actually being held together by a couple of skinny sticks.
What are skinny sticks? There's these guys.
Yeah, so we've shown these
popsicle sticks, right?
But yeah, we've shown this off for the gum blade project, and I really like the way that you don't even really need glue if you can get your tolerances really tight on that. And it holds remarkably well. You can swing this around without it coming off. And the seam, almost hides away if you're able to get that in there tight. Not so much with the, the little dovetail approach. And as Noah said, some of the things we printed, like I think like guns even, they all use that sort of same jigsaw sort of connector piece. A little bit difficult, especially with different tolerances on printers.
I think that's the only thing I don't like about it. Well, that and the way it looks. It kind of
it
really takes away the look.
Yeah.
I mean, since stuff is printed on the Z, that seam is like, it just looks like it's another layer. So
and
really cool.
And especially if you do like post-processing work on it, you can definitely hide that up. Yeah. Things that we haven't tried with the with the wood fill is using like wood filler. That would probably aid in eliminating even more of the seam.
That would look cool.
So just a different approach. This definitely works using the dovetail. Yeah. So,
but yeah, tolerances you gotta I remember like sanding down the pieces. I'm like I wish this.
And it still didn't fit. Yeah.
Yeah, but very cool nonetheless. It is free on My Manufactory, so folks can download it now.
Yeah, go ahead and check that out. It's very cool. They're always pumping out very awesome props.
Oh yeah. All right, now James Bruton's gonna stop by. Say what's up, James. This is James Bruton from XRobots.co.uk. He's on the YouTube channel. Check out his YouTube channel every Tuesday and Friday. Very cool build. This week, update to Hulkbuster. What's going on here, Pedro?
He's doing a lot of detail work, leather weathering work. He's finishing up the panels on the
biceps.
The biceps for the Hulkbuster. It's getting closer to the movie release date, so he's able to get more screenshots and angles of what the Hulkbuster will actually look like in the movie. Yeah. So if you scrub that,
I like his approach to using foam and then sort of creating.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think I have to remember. You don't have to 3D print everything. Yeah. Here he's just 3D printing all of the frame parts and then filling it in with the what is the PVC. Foam, yeah. So he's doing a lot of airbrushing here to sort of do gradients on it to give the metallic like beat up type look.
Yeah, he weathers it more later. But check this out, using tin foil to create the fillers and the contours of all these things. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, so he actually gets the like all the curvatures for that, and then sort of unfolds that, makes templates out of that, so he can cut that out of the foam here.
Yeah, this is more like.
And he heats it up and bends it in the shape. Very awesome. Like we were saying before, you don't have to. This would take forever to 3D print, especially because it's so big.
And it's already smooth.
It's already smooth. I mean, it makes more sense to just print out all of the framing that you're going to need for them, and just fill it in with the very light foam. And so if you continue here towards the end, he's doing some very cool weathering on dry brushing and paint brushing to get very oily, mechanical feel. Make it look like it's been, in a couple, it's saved the earth a couple times.
Very cool. Yeah, so if you want to see all the little intricacies of this build, definitely check it out. This is part 29 of the whole series, so very, very cool. Making lots of progress here on this one. Let's check it out. James Bruton, YouTube.
Yeah, and remember that, he's using NeoPixels, some gemmas.
Oh, that's right, for the arc reactor here.
Arc reactor, yeah. So
and a lot of other things, so like the guns are going to be all lit up. Very, very cool stuff. Big project, folks, so check it out. It's on YouTube. Okay.
And then next up, we have very cool Fusion 360 tutorial.
Yeah, this one's from Kaching. Him and Tyler Steen are coming out with very awesome tutorials utilizing all the cool features in Fusion 360, which is really like the big brother to 123D design. So this one was brought to Kaching by a forum user. User on the forum was like, hey, how do I create a bend? I'm trying to create a pair of sunglasses here, but I'm trying to use like linear deformers to sort of bend it. So you actually know a little bit about it.
So this is actually how we do it inside of Mayan. A lot of the reasons why I use it first, even if it's just for sort of prototyping what it'll finally look like assembled inside of 123D, because you can go in there and do non-linear deformers on side of objects like this. Yeah. It's very easy to do. It's very easy to update too. You can dynamically in real time update the curvatures that are making all of the shapes.
Yeah. So let's see real quick how he put it together. You start off with pretty much the same like you would in Maya. You make your bend that you want with a spline tool. And then the cool thing out here is that you can, when you extrude a line, it turns into a surface patch. You can do a lot of different things with surface patches because they're pretty much dynamic. So he makes the surface patch, extrudes it, and then he creates his shape for the sunglasses, for the frame there. And you just kind of tweak it, and just shows that you can tweak it individually to get the right thing. Here's really where it starts getting, you extrude it out, and then you create a intersection. So instead of creating a new body, you create an intersect, and that'll just chop out and trim that curve so that it follows the same path that you made for the frame. And now, instead of extruding out the surface patch, you use this thing called thicken, and the thicken lets you modify it later and lets you do a lot of cool things with it that are dynamic. So here.
One of the most important things, though, I think what it does is it extrudes along the normal, so it's not extruding completely flat down, where that little edge right there would be chopped off and cornered off. It's a really cool way to do it. I actually did something like this for an upcoming project inside of 123D.
Do you want to show us?
So here's a sneak peek.
If
you stuck around this long. We have a sword. We also have a shield.
Of course, you gotta have the whole set, folks. You got the sword, and you got
this ginormous shield. We've seen some people print this out before, but they weren't able to figure out how to do the curvatures on that. And
that's right.
This is how we did it. A similar type of technique that you can do inside of 123D, so that you have a complete curve on there, and that definitely helps in getting the biggest print that you can on your build platform.
Oh, that's right, because it's curving. You can actually fit it on there.
Yeah, so a lot of cool techniques that went into this one. This will be a future episode as well. Built in, little handles here and a grab onto.
Yeah, very cool.
So very cool. All the detail too is all curved on there. It was all creating similar techniques that we're seeing here inside the Fusion 360. So if you stuck around, pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
It's gonna do some weathering and other things like that.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing it. Okay. But one real cool thing, this is probably one of the highlights. After this is another cool thing. You can select the surface and apply a chamfer. Instead of having to select all the little edges, you can just do it to the whole surface and bottom surface there. So very nice there. But really, the thing that makes this thing shine is the way you're able to manipulate it afterwards. So you see that curve that he made? All he did was he brought it back, and now he's just going to manipulate it a little bit here. So if you grab some of the points, you can see that it actually updates Look at that. That is money right there, man. This is super dynamic. So if you wanted to come in here and change the curvature for someone else's head or make it specific, you can come in here and modify that without having to re-extrude or any of that stuff. So very good approach. This is one of the smarter ways to do it.
Definitely a feature that I miss from Maya. Yeah. It's because of how fast. I mean, you could see that it's
a little slower.
It's using a little bit of processing power to do that. Inside Maya, it's freaking fast.
Super fast, and then you can still tweak the shape too that he thickened.
Yeah. Something that you fortunately can't do inside of 123D. So the curvature on that, is pretty much what you're stuck with, unless you want to rebuild a lot of the components.
I think so. So surface patches, very cool approach using the bend, or to create a bend rather. So pretty cool. Very
awesome tools inside of Fusion 360.
Check it out again to get the full thing. Yeah, Kaching. Get the full tutorial on YouTube. We got the link for you guys in the description. So yeah, that's going to be it for the news, folks.
I think that's it for this week. We're going to leave you guys off with some coupon codes.
Oh, yeah. All the cool boards and materials that we showed today, you can get them now on the Adafruit shop.
So you can get your printers, your filament, and of course...
accessories. All the
accessories and electronic projects to bring your 3D printing projects to life.
That's right. Don't forget our big, massive blue tape that we got. That's a really good product.
Yeah, so 10% discount code during checkout. Use sound effects. Expires at 11:59 p.m. tonight. It doesn't work on software or
gift certificates.
Software. It's off for gift certificates.
Yeah, that's good. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching. That's this week's show. We're going to let you go with the video now, so we'll play that at the end. But we'll be back here next week, folks. And until next time, keep on printing. Okay, bye, everybody. Coming up, DIY soundboard. Make it, work it, make it, work it, make it. This is an all-in-one mini soundboard. You push a button, it makes the sound. It's also got LEDs. Lady Ada came up with this project when one of her favorite sites was taken down, so she made her own using some of her awesome breakout boards. In this project, the trellis triggers samples on an audio effects soundboard. The Pro Trinket interfaces between the two over serial and I2C and then ties the samples to the buttons. It's actually a really slick way to make a compact soundboard. This version of the audio effects soundboard features a built-in amp, so you can wire speakers up directly. Whenever a trellis key is pressed, there's a loop in the Arduino sketch that listens for button presses and plays back a sample from a list. We put together a circuit diagram and tutorial on the Adafruit learning system so you can follow along and build this project. The link is in the description. Our 3D printed enclosure keeps all the parts together and looks really simple. You can download the files and modify the parts to fit your project. The two breakout boards are secured with machine screws to the standoffs on the bottom cover. The two speakers are mounted on the side of the enclosure, which is actually a pretty interesting way to mount them because they're upright and they don't have any support material. The trellis snaps onto a tray and it's placed on top of the enclosure, and there's an inner lip that keeps the tray in place. The top and bottom covers are secured to the frame with machine screws. So this is a really cool project, a great way to DIY a simple trigger soundboard. If you're looking to make a musical instrument, you should check out the Trellis USB MIDI project over here. And that's if you want something that's low latency and more of a MIDI controller. My favorite part about this project is that you can easily upload new samples and recharge the LiPo battery over USB. So there you have it, a compact all-in-one soundboard. It's really loud, supports wave samples and Ogg Vorbis, so you can play around with a bunch of samples or a really few high-quality audio clips. The code is up on GitHub, and you can grab the CAD file, circuit diagram, and full list of materials on the Adafruit learning system. If you guys want to build this project, please do check that out, and I hope you guys like this one. You can let me know what you would do with this project in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll leave you guys with some nice soldering shots, so stick around if you want to see the rest of the build and more neat stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Faster, faster, do it.